Once you get more food, then you can use that for extra time. You don't have to spend all your waking hours getting the food. You can spend half the day, 3/4 of the day getting food, and then you've got some hours left over, some time. And out of that time will come weapons. Because it takes time to fashion that stick into a spear. It takes time to think about your relationship with something higher than that animal in the jungle or the bananas you're picking. It takes time to doodle in the sand and produce out of that art or writing. Time is the key. Time is what will give us the ability to produce civilization. But you get the time by way of the food. You get the food by way of subsistence technology. The relationship, according to the Lenskis, is you need the extra time, and you get that by the extra food, which in turn gives you the extra time. These two together is known as the social surplus. This is all from last time. All from last time. It's simple. It sounds complicated, but it's not. You're not going to do anything if you're freaking starving. The only thing that's going to be on your mind is food. All your time is going to be spent looking for food. But now, a breakthrough, a new piece of technology, a stone tool for whacking down the bananas or bopping the bunnies. Now you have more food. You have more food than you've ever had in your life. Instead of every period of time out there hunting the bunnies, now you can sit back and do something else. And that, again, produces civilization. All right? That's the key. That's the underlying concept. It is that simple. And we're going to explain all of human history, given that simple relationship. But I need to make sure everybody's follow me on that. Any questions? See if I can clarify that. We're looking at all of human history. This is the big stuff. We're talking about where human beings come from, where we're going. Well, at the end of this conversation, we'll speculate about what this means for the future of our species. I know this stuff is not practical to you folks. You're looking to get that job. You're looking to date, to clear up your complexion, and this will do none of that stuff for you. But this is what college is supposed to be about. Talking about the big issues, the meaning of life, where our species is going. You'll never have another chance to think about this stuff in this way. Now is your chance to exercise that part of our evolution that has distinguished the species, our ability to think, reason, and think about where it's all coming from and where it's all going. Okay? Any questions? Okay. Let's go back. Let's start off with basic human beings. Our earliest form of human civilization. Anybody know what the earliest form of society for human society? What was it called? Hunting gathering. Again, ecologies to anthropologists. I'm getting these huge stretches of time because there's a huge debate. This is where anthropology comes into debate. There's 150, 125,000 years, blah, blah, blah. I'm just giving a vague, general overview. Earliest human society, hunter-gatherers. What kind of technology is involved? What kind of subsistence technology?
Not much.
Not much. It's very, very basic. What are they basically doing? They are, hint, hint, what's the name of the group? Hunting and gathering. That is, they're getting animals, protein by way of what? Hunting. They're getting vegetables, plants, fruits by way of what?
Gathering.
Gathering. What kind of tools are we talking about? Remember, 100 to 200,000 years ago. What kind of tools? Language. This is a biological fact of human beings. Our ability to use language is simply a function of our biological evolution. But it allows us to coordinate. You go this way, I'll go that way. You scare the bunny towards me, I'll bop it. Language is a basic tool for producing food. Fire. Early hunter-gatherers. Fire is a big deal. Why? Why might fire be so important to hunter-gatherers?
Better tools, better food, and
better tools, better. You can harden your tools. You can ship them. Your spears. You can harden your point in there. That's probably not the most important use of fire.
Scare big animals away.
Pardon?
Scare big animals away.
That's it. Scare big animals away. We know the average life expectancy of a hunter-gatherer is about 30 years, as best we can tell by the aging of the bones, about 30 years. Some of you are getting close to being dead. I'll be dead a couple of times if I were a hunter-gatherer. What's killing them? Tuberculosis? Nah. Heart disease, cancer? You don't get it very often before you're 30. Nah. What's killing them?
animals.
Lions and tigers and bears. Oh my. Yeah. Remember, eyes of an arboreal animal. What does that mean? Arboreal.
Tree.
Trees. If you're up in a tree, do you care an awful lot about animals? No. Very sophisticated color vision. Also because we are arboreal, which means we can see fruits, nuts, and berries, and if they are ripe or not, when it's light. But what happens at night? We don't see well at night. But do lions see well at night? Do cheetahs see well at night? Yeah. How come? Because they were alpha predators. Number one killer of human beings in this period of time are animals. Fire is the key to keep them away. Without fire, this group dies out. Best we can tell, according to anthropologists in many of these societies, where it's particularly the origins of human beings, it's still pretty wet in those areas. Even if it's savanna, it's wet. So how do you start a fire? Good question. I know, I was a Boy Scout too. I know about flint. I know about bow drills. But that works well if you've got dry tinder. How are they going to get fire?
Animal.
Where?
Animal. Meat.
Probably not animals.
Tar.
Pardon?
Tar.
I can't hear.
Tar.
Tar?
Tar.
Tar?
Yeah.
Black stuff.
Like the tar pits?
Yeah. How do you get fire out of that?
It's
Kind of
flammable.
like an oil substance.
Oh, oil. That's possible. But you've got to start it. Yeah, that would get it going and keep it going. But you're heading the right direction. It's occurring naturally. It's in the semi-tropics. It doesn't rain a lot.
Sulfur.
You get a lot of storms, and when you get a lot of storms, you get what? Lightning. Lightning strikes. There was a book and a movie many years ago called The Quest for Fire. Hunter-gatherer tribe. Its fire goes out. That means that group is about to die out. And typically what they'll do is send a party out trying to hunt for fire someplace. Enough lightning strikes, and they'll have one person go, that once they get the fire, that's sole responsibility to keep it going. Because once it's gone, so are they. Here comes the lions and tigers and bears again. What you should get out of this conversation is the simplicity of this life, the primitiveness of this technology. So, 6 stones and fire. Sticks and stones used for what? Hunting. Sticks and stones, hunting. In your physical anthropology class, did you spend a lot of time looking at sticks and at stones particularly?
Not really. We more looked at the size of the skull.
Okay, size of the skull, that kind of
And
stuff.
how it kind of.
When I took it years ago, we had a lab, and you had to go in there, and, and they had all these friggin' rocks. It looks like a friggin' rock. But no, this is a scraping rock. This is a chipping rock. This is a cutting rock. They all look like friggin' rocks to me. But that's the life of these people, these very simple pieces of technology. Do most hunter-gatherers in human history have bows and arrows? No. Bows and arrows are a very late appearing invention. About 45,000 years ago, as best we can tell, bows and arrows first appeared. That means most of human history, no bows and arrows. You're out there with big sharp sticks, hunting the antelope, sticking them. Okay, fairly primitive stuff. What does that mean in terms of the social surplus? Which means what? People are engaged in what day to day? What are they doing?
Getting food.
Hunting and gathering. They are basic. Most of their waking hours are involved in subsistence, getting that food. That also means these are very small societies. Remember, hunter-gatherers, maybe at tops, and this is only very, very limited circumstances, 100 people gather. That's often where there's an awful lot of food occurring naturally. A huge bloom of bananas in an area. The salmon run up in the Pacific Northwest. It used to be said you could walk across some of those rivers on the backs of the salmon. And the Native Americans during a salmon run would gather. There could be 100, even 200 of them gathered for a short period of time as long as the salmon run was taking place. Once the salmon run was over, they'd go their way. If we were a group of hunter-gatherers in the natural environment where we currently are, could we survive in this larger group of people?
No.
Absolutely not. This is a desert, naturally. If there was any hope, we'd have to split up probably into at least 4 different groups, maybe 10, 15 people going in different directions looking for food. Probably what we'd have to do is one of 2 things. We'd either have to go east up to the mountains where you'll find more food, or go west where there's what?
Ocean.
The ocean. A lot of mollusks and fish. That would be the only hope of these groups. And there have to be at least 4 of us out there to survive. Again, get the sense of the technology. Controlling the life of people in this kind of environment. Very small groups of people. The form of settlement. What we're looking at is this series. Let me just go back here. What I wanted to show you is this chart in your lecture notes. We're going to be comparing these stages of human society. There's 4 of them: hunting and gathering, horticulture, agrarian, and industrial. The period of time, the kind of technology, subsistence technology, the size of the social surplus, size of society, the form of settlement, the form of division of labor. Remember, sociology makes a big deal out of it. We've talked a lot about that. And you'll see, and we've already talked a little bit, we'll talk a lot more about the form of inequality. Marx started talking about that. It's called the study of stratification, the belief system, and the kinds of warfare. Every bit of this, warfare, the inequality, the division of labor, settlement, size, is all due to this primarily in its ability to produce this. That's why I'm giving you a more colorful version of this chart. But the key, again, is subsistence technology producing the social surplus and affecting all this stuff down here. Okay? On these categories: size of society, settlement, complexity, and stratification. Is that clear what I'm doing? What's going on here? This is very important for your midterm. All right, so back to a more colorful version of this. All right, form of settlement amongst these people. The technology is so primitive, they're going to exhaust the... If we're out here picking the berries, if there were 40 of us, again, there are probably more likely 12 of us in a group. But it'd take us a few days, even if we went up to the mountains. We could find some berries up there, some acorns, we'd be crushing that kind of stuff. But could we stay in one area for very long? No, not without eating up all the food. We'd have to move again. That's why these societies are called what they're called nomadic. Nomadic peoples mean that they are constantly moving. Constantly moving. Maybe if they find a real fertile source of food, they'll stay around for a week, a month or 2. But eventually, they'll move on. They'll follow the animals as they migrate. They'll go to where the food is growing. Now, most of the food source of hunter-gatherers is going to be coming from fruits, nuts, and vegetables, because the ability to hunt is so primitive.